going to discuss the most important topic is the English honor students of BA program, European classical literature. In the European classical literature, there are so many devices which are very important, and in which of them epics is very important. So, first of all, I want to discuss the epics. Epic poems have elevated forms of expressions and celebrated for their exalted themes. Their grandeur of the content is matched by the grandeur of the form in which it is written. An epic is celebrates the presence of the divine in the human spirit. Epic's poem basically belonging from the elevated forms of expression and celebrated for their exalted themes. Their grandeur of the content is matched by the grandeur of the form in which it is written. An epic is celebrates the presence of the divine in the human spirit. The Iliad is an epic poem by the Greek poet Homer that narrates events for the final week of Trojan, which fought between the Greeks and Trojans. The Iliad is an epic poem by the Greek poet Homer that narrates events of the final week of Trojan, which fought between the Greek and Trojans. The war which was triggered by the abdication of the Helen by the Trojans, Prince Paris last, uh, last, lasted for 10 years. The Iliad can be compared with the Ramayana and the Mahabharata, which also have themes of the war. In this chapter, we will study about the Iliad and the Homeric traditions. The way in the Indian English literature, I have discussed with you so many traditional literary devices which have been used in the Indian English literature in order to express their culture, in order to express the religious meaning. In the same manner, European classical literature have the religious and divine uh, uh, literary devices and touch which are used for to express the and express the wars and celebrated for their exalted themes. So basically, epic poems have the 11th form of the expressions and celebrated for their exalted themes. Their grandeur of the content is matched by the grandeur of the form in which it is written. An epic is celebrates the presence of the divine in the human spirit. The divine is the very important thing, which is the divine energy, which is the positive energy which make the human as a god. When the humans um, come in the form of a god, it's called a divine energy. And basically, European classical literature is belonging from the divine in the human spirit. In the same manner, like the Mahabharata and Ramayana, the Iliad is an epic poem. The Iliad is an epic poem by the Greek poet. जो Greek poets are उनके through, and Homer that narrates events of the final week of the Trojans, which fought between the Greeks and the Trojans. The war, which was triggered by the abductions of the Hellenes by the Trojan princes and Paris, lasted for the 10 years. The Iliad can be compared with the Ramayana and Mahabharata, which also have theme of wars. In this chapter, we will study about the Iliad and the Homeric traditions. Here we have our themes. Epics has the exalted theme covering the heroic deeds of a great man and shows the greatness of the divine power. In the Ramayana, Lord Vishnu comes to the earth as a Rama and to destroy the evil. In the Iliad, the Odyssey, the god directly take part and determine the human fate. So, in the same sense, when the Vishnu Bhagwan, when Vishnu goddess come for the in order to finish the evils, in order to destroy the negative energy on the earth in the form of a god Vishnu, and he was playing a role of Rama in the Ramayana in order to finish all the evils. So epics have exalted themes covering the heroic deeds of a great man and showing the greatness of the divine power. In the Ramayana, Lord Vishnu comes to the earth as a Rama, destroy the evils. In the Iliad, the Odysseus, the god directly take part and determine the human fate. Genre. Epic were written in the words in ancient times and in modern times. Epics novels and epics plays have used the prose form. They are very expensive and large in scale. Western epics have been written in the 12 books and multiples of 12. The Iliad poem by the Odyssey and have the 12 books each. So, genre in the epics were written in the words of ancient time and in the modern time. Epics novels and epics plays have used the prose form. They are very expensive. They are very expensive and large in scale. Western epics have been written in 12 books and multiples of 12. The Iliad poem and the Odyssey have the 12 books each. सब ठीक है. So basically the epics uh, were written हुई है in the words of ancient time and in the modern time. Epic novels and epic plays have a used the prose form and they are very expensive and large in scales. And Western epics have been written in the 12 books and multiple of 12 books. And the Iliad poem and Odyssey have the 12 books each. So they are so long. That's why they are written in the verse and have a 12 books each. Subject matter. Epic narrates the heroic ideals like courage, honor, sacrifice, patriotism, kindness. They depict the social and cultural life of the period. Subject matter. Epics narrate the heroic ideals. ठीक है? So in the epics, all the poem, all the prose are belonging from the ideals like a courage, honor, sacrifices, patriotism, and kindness. So, in the epics, all the prose and poems, the hero of the story and the human spirit which have and the human spirit which is belonging from the divine energy playing a roles of kindness, courage, honor, sacrifices, and patriotism. They depict the social and cultural life of the period. So basically it is belonging from the kindness, it is belonging from the mm, one person who wants to finish the evil and wants to finish the negative energy and playing a positive role, and which is belonging from the courage, patriotism, kindness, and sacrifices. Language. Epic uses the ornamental language, smileys, recurrent epithet, stock phrases, and expressive styles are common. Epics uses the ornamental language, smiles, recurrent, epithetic, stocks, phrases, and expressive styles are common. ठीक है. And poetic inspirations. Epics have been composed with a high degree of imagination power called a poetic impression. Epics have been composed with a high degree of imaginative power. Epics have been composed with a high degree of imaginative power. So there is lots of imagination about the hero, with lots of imagination about the divine energy. So and high degree of the imaginative power called the poetic imagination and inspirations. ठीक है. So in the point in your last year's paper, the question have come and repeated and again describe the epics with the different features. So you have to write all the definitions, all the features I have discussed with you. First of all, you have to follow the same structure. You have to follow the same structure. First of all, you have to write a definition of epics. Epics poem have 11 form of the expression and celebrate the for their exalted themes. The grandeur of the content is matched by the grandeur of the form in which it is written. An epic is celebrated the presence of the divine in the human spirit. The Iliad is an epic poem by the Greek poet Homer and that narrates the events of the final week of the Trojan which fought between the Greek and Trojan. The war which was triggered by the abduction of the Helen by the Trojan princess Paris lasted for the 10 years. The Iliad can be removed compared with the Ramayana and Mahabharata, which also have theme of wars. In which chapter we will study about the Iliad, about the Homeric traditional. Um, Themes. Epics have the exalted theme covering the heroic deeds of a great man and that shows the greatness of the divine power. In the Ramayana, Lord Vishnu comes to the earth as Rama to destroy the evil. In the Iliad, the Odyssey, the god directly takes parts and determine the human fate. Genre. Epics were written in the verse in the ancient time and in the modern time epics novels and epics play have used the prose of form and they are very expensive and large in scale. Western epics have been written in the 12 books and multiples of 12. The Iliad poem have and the Odyssey have the 12 books each. Subject matters. Epics narrates the heroic ideals like courage, honor, sacrifice, patriotism, and kindness. They depict the social cultural life of the period. Language. Epics use the ornamental language, smiles, recurrent epithet, stock phrases, and expensive style are common. Poetic inspiration. Epics have been composed with a high degree of imaginative power called the poetic inspirations. So, I hope you like this video, which is very important according to examination point of views. Thank you so much.